Let me clarify one thing in the very beginning of it. I'm a politician. Okay. So let's be very upfront about it. I am not somebody who works with politicians, but I'm a politician. So I'm not talking about things that we do as things for clients, but I'm in charge of the Aam Aadmi Party's social media as a person who's part of the party. I've been here in AAP since the inception in 2012, and since back then I've been managing the social media presence of it, social media, IT, digital, whatever you call it. So in the morning, I'll like to talk about two conversations that happened since the morning. One was Melanie talking about politics becoming marketing, and during lunch we had a conversation in which she agreed that politics has become more of a business, and that's why it needs marketing. Now, because it needs marketing, that's why people had to be hired for it. Now, in our case specifically, it was an in-house team which did everything, and that's what we are going to talk about. The second thing that I'll tackle last in this conversation is, in the session about Nigeria and Kenya, it was asked whether social media actually helps win elections. So I have some internal stats from our own organization which I'll help present here, and let's see, I hope people will believe that social media can actually make a difference in elections. So this is specifically about 2015 Delhi elections, a period between 2014 September to 2015 February. I'll start with a timeline of it. So in 2011, and I'll request you people to, if possible, note down 4 names or at least remember it. First is Anna Hazare. Anna Hazare was a leader of this 2011 anti-corruption movement that happened. He was touted as the next Gandhi at that point of time. Things happened differently, but we'll come to that. Then in 2012 November, the AAP was formed as a splinter group of the same IAC, led by Arvind Kejriwal, who is currently the Delhi State Chief Minister. And another group under leadership of Kiran Bedi decided to be non-political. Remember these 2 names also. And the 4th name that you might want to remember is a cartoonist called Manoj Kuril, who we had on our Facebook page in India Against Corruption as somebody who used to contribute via cartoons. And how all these 4 people eventually helped us win the 2015 elections, I'll come to that now. So in 2013, in our first election, just year and 2 months after formation, we went into our first election and won 28 seats. The interesting part being that we were a totally new party, there was no baggage that we had, and we decided not to have any kind of coalitions. So the traditional parties, the BJP and Congress, they ended up with 32 and 8 seats, and independents had 2 seats, so there was nobody who was actually in a position to form the government. So us being the minority, despite having minority, we were asked to form the government, and we went ahead and formed the government. Arvind resigned after 49 days of governance in February 2014. 14th of February was the exact date. So all of us Valentine's was ruined due to that. 3 and a half months after that, Mr. Modi won emphatically in the general elections in 2014. His party got 282 seats, and the NDA, the alliance that he leads, got 336 seats in total. So to understand the magnitude of it, for the past 30 years before that, no single party had got that kind of majority in India. It was the first time that in India, any party got that kind of majority since the time of Rajiv Gandhi, which was in 1980s, or late 1984, if I'm correct. I was maybe a year old at that time, so I don't remember correctly. Then, something interesting happened. So, because the BJP had won so emphatically, they kept winning all the smaller state level elections, and we were the challengers in Delhi. And the Delhi elections were supposed to happen sometime, and eventually the central government decided that they would happen in February 2015. We had a big problem at our hands. We had only one face in the face of Arvind, and he was targeted very, very badly by the BJP and its social media team in the nature of attire that he wore, in the way he resigned. He was touted as Bhagoda. Bhagoda, the closest English translation would be the one who ran away. So we had a huge problem at our hand in the sense that our biggest face had been demeaned so much by the BJP social media machinery that we had to find a way out to creep out of that. So two things happened. One is Arvind came up front and resigned, and second is we did a campaign called Muffler Man. Okay, but before that, I would just tell you how we function. So we use a lot of resources that are not physically available, as in people who are spread across the globe, not only India but across the globe. Then we organize a lot of our Facebook groups. It is for content, for graphics, for peer review. So anything that any of our content creators generates, any of our graphic designers generates, goes for peer review. How it comes into play, I'll just get to that. And we use Twitter a lot for setting the agenda of the debate. I'll also come to that. All these 3 points will come to a culmination later in this presentation. So the leadership gives some cue to the core team, which includes me and around 18 to 20 people more. Then there's a support group of around 200 people, and then there's an extended team, which depending on the kind of scenario varies. Sometimes it's 2,000, sometimes it's 5,000. During election, it goes up to 10,000. Okay. And all these are people. So of these 20 people, I have met only 4 in my life, and it's been 7 years since we have been campaigning. So that's the kind of power that social media gave to all of us. Now, have a look at this banner. So this was a banner. It's called Muffler Man, and it has some history behind it now. We'll just get to the history, but it trended on Twitter. We created the Muffler Man hashtag out of it. It trended on Twitter for 19 days. Out of that, for 12 days, it was the number 1 in India. Nobody knows how it happened. Even Twitter doesn't know. Generally, Twitter hashtags last for at max of 72 hours. In this case, something exceptional happened, but this looks inspired, doesn't it? I'll show you the inspiration of it. So, have a look again. So, but these ideas don't come out of the blue, do they? So I'll tell you the story behind it. So the first guy, his name is Dr. Nehal. He's a pediatrician in Bhuj, Gujarat, and Modi had just come out of Gujarat, was ruling Gujarat very recently till that point of time. He's a pediatrician, he's a certified doctor. The second guy, he's a grocery shop owner in Manchester, UK. His name is Shadab. And the third lady is Aarti Chadha. She's a homemaker based out of Mumbai. So Dr. Nehal had this idea that we need to do something about this negative sentiment that's being built around Arvind. So he was like, we need to make a superhero out of him. So let's make something. So he came across the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter banner, and then he told Shadab that let's make something around this. Shadab is basically from India, had moved to UK after the 1992 riots, and is owning a grocery shop in Manchester. He was like, okay, I'll try something, and he made that banner. That banner performed well in our peer groups in Facebook. We hadn't posted it on Twitter till that point of time. It performed well during the peer reviews. Everybody was like, okay, this is very exceptional, it's something different. Can we do something more around this? And this is November 2014. The elections are still 3 months away. A month before that, the BJP had won 3 more states with emphatic majority. Haryana, Maharashtra, and one more, I believe. But, yeah, it was covered by Reuters as well as BBC. We got around 200 media articles around it, and none of them was paid. So you can read more about it at Reuters study that they have done around it. The interesting part is that when you're trying to meddle with your biggest leader's persona, will the leadership allow it? So we didn't have that option because somebody was mentioning Vipassana in the afternoon. So Arvind was in Vipassana at that time. Vipassana is a kind of meditation in which you have to be without your phone for 10 days. So when this happened, Arvind was unreachable for me. I said, okay, I don't know, Aarti, you take a call. I'm not aware that this banner even exists. So the team of volunteers took a call. They started a trend on the 19th of November, and it eventually trended till the time Arvind finished his Vipassana, came out, eventually translated into a fundraising campaign, Donate for Aarti, around which he generated 80 lakh rupees, so around 8 million rupees. Now, all that is exceptional. But the best part of it is that it was entirely volunteer driven. Not a penny was spent, and despite of that, it was covered by the media, and the entire perception around Arvind changed. Now, let's see. So now that you have the perspective, I'll tell you how the BJP versus AAP model of social media is different. So BJP, it's a very centrally controlled, tightly coupled model. So any person who is working with the BJP, they have to be in sync with the high command. In our case, it is very, very volunteer driven and loosely coupled. People can have difference of opinion with me as well as Arvind. They can be angry about things, and yet they can keep volunteering with us. In the case of BJP, the media propaganda drives social media. So they would put something in the media, some of the senior leaders would say something, and then it would be propagated in social media. In our case, it was other way around, because we didn't have the kind of influence in media, we still don't have, thankfully. So our social media propaganda drives the media's agenda. And as we proceed, we'll see how it happens. So, third is the way leaders use social media. So, we saw how Mr. Narendra Modi uses social media. It's more about dishing out news as to what is happening. It's less about creating news and more about distributing news. In our case, we at least use Twitter for creating a lot of news. And the fourth is WhatsApp. WhatsApp is something that I can't go into the detail of, otherwise it will take me another hour. So we will not get into that. But I'll give a very small example. So personal image slandering and religious slandering is something that is also a huge part of social media usage of WhatsApp. So in 2013, riots happened in Muzaffarnagar in India, in which 62 people died. 42 of them were Muslims and 20 were Hindus. So somebody came to me and said that, Ankit, all this has happened through WhatsApp. I was like, come on, you can't be joking. Right? I have 5. So you can't be joking. So I said, okay, what's the way to find out? The only way to find out is to do some research. So I asked my local team based out of Muzaffarnagar to send me a data set of local area phone numbers. And Katie would hate to hear that. But we have a way by which we can ping on phone numbers, and WhatsApp gives you back the last time those numbers were active on WhatsApp. But of those set of 10,000 numbers, 2,700 were active WhatsApp users. In a place like Muzaffarnagar, which is not urban, a 27% set, it's a huge data set for me, which corroborates the ground feeling that WhatsApp was actually used to spread communal violence. And because of one very specific thing, for Facebook or Twitter, if you want to show something to your friend, you have to be online at all points of time. In WhatsApp, that is not the case. If you have downloaded something, it is on your phone even when you are offline. And that is where it becomes very, very tricky. Anyways, so we use WhatsApp more for propagating the kind of things that our party was promising in the elections. But then something very strange happened. You all remember the name Kiran Bedi? So she had led the splinter group that decided to remain non-political when we separated from the Indian Disruption movement. She still used the Indian Disruption name for a while. But in the January of 2015, BJP announced her as their chief ministerial candidate against Arvind. So this was 20th of January, and then this happened. So 8:35 a.m. in the morning, Arvind tweets, congrats for being nominated as BJP CM candidate. I invite you for public debate moderated by a neutral person and telecast by all. This was the first election in which BJP was actually being challenged, so the media was having a very close eye on it. For the next 2 days, this was the topic of debate across all media channels. But then something more interesting happened. We brought this topic in onto whether in a democracy it is right for a political leader to block another political leader. Twitter is a democratic space, we all believe so, or at least want to believe so. And Kiran Bedi had this habit of blocking people when she didn't like what they were talking. I'm one of the people who have been blocked by her, and there are around 700-800 more that I know of. There would be many more. But we made it into a campaign. We made it into a campaign that if you are blocked by Kiran Bedi, then tell us. And the more people talked about it, the more people she kept blocking. So eventually it catapulted into something totally different. The conversation was being driven by us rather than by the party which was in power and center. So we dug out some old things. So this is my screenshot from back then. So Kiran Bedi had tweeted in 2011, 11th of December 2011, that if Congress spokesperson can come on TV debate, why can they not come on direct debate, where they feel see listen their elections? Okay. Earlier she used to challenge others for debate, and now she was the one running away from debate. But that is one part of the problem. Kiran Bedi is known for one more thing. She was the first woman IPS officer in India, and she had one thing to her credit. She was known to have towed the PM's car. So it's highlighted in red. She had written it on her Twitter account, towed the PM's car. But one article in an online portal called First Post said that the articles from 1984, when it all happened, contradict the story. And she had been peddling the story for, say, 30 years by that time. So we started to ask questions, we ran a Twitter hashtag, nothing happened, so we gave up. And one fine morning, a journalist asked the very question to her on TV. She said, I hadn't told the lie. But she had it right here on her Twitter profile. The next thing she does, she changes her Twitter profile, removes that line from her Twitter profile. Her biggest achievement, about which she had been talking about for 30 years, using social media, we were able to take that down. And because of that, her image was hurt a lot. So eventually we were able to establish that, okay, she is not actually what she seems, she is not actually what she says. So we were able to eventually establish that she dished Anna Hazare, then joined the BJP, made tracks in the movement, anti-corruption movement, and multiple things like this were established by this one movement. Now, coming back to the fourth guy whom I had mentioned, the cartoonist Manoj Puri, who we had given space initially in his initial days in 2011 on our Facebook page. I'll just take one more minute. So this was a cartoon drawn by Puri, which appeared as a half-page ad in almost all national newspapers. So this tells us two things. Any of you observant enough, if you could tell what it tells us?
Photo with the mala.
Yeah, that's one. That's the main thing that we eventually picked up. So in Indian community, you put the garland on somebody's photograph once they have died, not before that. So that picture is representative of Anna Hazare, who is still alive even at this time. And Pureel had drawn a cartoon in which he had put the mala on his photograph, but there was something more. It's numbered 1, which means it was the first one in a series of some more cartoons to come. So now we were prepared for A, that okay, some more cartoons are about to come, and B, we had this issue at hand. And that is how we targeted it. And the date was very important. The date was 30th of January. The 30th of January is the same date on which Mahatma Gandhi was shot. That is the same date on which this appeared in newspapers. So we contextualized it. I didn't even have to ask him to contextualize it. He was smart enough. He is smart enough. So he said that, okay, Natram Godse killed Mahatma Gandhi in 1948, now BJP has killed another. and I will always pray for the well-being of Annaji. Now, by doing that, he established two things. One, that the BJP is against Annaji, who is still a respected figure, and B, that I'm still at good terms with him, despite of whatever differences he think he might have with us. And then we have talked a lot about humor since the morning. So this is so there's a team called TVF in India, which do caricatures and mimicry and a lot of similar things. So the person on my left and the right one is the original one, the left one is the duplicate one. So we did a recording 3 days prior to the election, and on the day on which the election results are supposed to come out, we released this from Urban's handle, and people were like, "Are you mad or what? Today it is going to be the most important result in your lifetime. Are you mad or what?" But that's how we are, and eventually we ended up winning 67 out of the 70 seats, around 96% for perspective, and BAP won 3, and Congress had 0 seats eventually. But coming back to the second question that I had asked in the very beginning, does social media make a difference in electoral results? Average electorate size in Delhi, so Delhi has 70 constituencies, average electorate size is around 200,000. The mean win or loss difference is around 5,000. Let's take that around 10% of people, around 20% are now, but let's take just for standard that across Delhi the average number of people who would be active on social media would be 10%, so 20,000 per assembly. If I'm able to influence 25% of that audience, which is 5,000 individuals, I'll be able to flip election in any of these questions. Thank you.